He loves those Warriors.
He does. Me too. It's just a joy to behold when they play well, and when they lose, it's heartbreaking. I've never been a fan before in my life. You know, when they won in 2015 and all of Oakland went crazy happy, it convinced me that actually there's a role for sports in society, professional spectator sports. Hello, Danny. Muted.
Hello, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How about yourself?
Good. Good, I'm great, thanks. Getting better and better. I have a few setbacks here and there, but yeah, generally I'm doing very well, thanks.
It's good. You look good.
Glad to hear that, Danny.
You look energetic. At least through Zoom filters, you know.
Yeah, that probably helps.
Jack Wada, are you there, Jack?
Yeah, hi. I'm here.
Yeah. Do you have two screens going, one with the game and one with this, or are you going to wait?
Oh, I'm going to keep the sound off in the game. I get two screens, but I'm okay. I've done this before.
All right. Well, don't tell us the score.
No, I won't say anything like that. Believe me. Okay, you take care. Good luck.
Have you guys got some big game going on?
Oh, yes. So it's the professional basketball tournament, and we're in the finals, and the local team here in the San Francisco Bay Area is called the Golden State Warriors, and they're in the finals. And so they're the local team, and Jack is a dedicated fan for many years and has pulled me along with him. And
well, good luck to you.
And
I think you're right. Yeah, I've noted that with sport, sure lifts the spirits of people. Very important for some.
It can, yeah. Hello, everyone. Hello, Linda. You're on the Mesa in outside San Diego. Is that where you are now?
I'm in my office.
I know, but I know.
This is the Anza Borrego State Desert.
Borrego. Okay,
Anza Borrego State
Springs.
Desert near the Museum and Visitor Center.
All right. Justin, did you float away with the storms in Miami?
I nearly did. We had a tropical depression come through last Friday, and it's rained every day and sometimes all day since then.
Just a little drizzle, or did you have 10 inches in 10 hours or something?
Downpours. There are some parts of Miami, and this is typical of Miami, that are right now under 4 feet of water.
Today, a week later.
I mean, it was happening fast. There were some storms that were dropping a foot of rain, but there's no drainage in some places, and the city is built almost at sea level, and it floods very quickly. I'm not in that part of town, thank God, but it's been a rough week, and it's just the first week of our hurricane season.
Right,
so,
right.
Maybe a moment of things to come.
Yeah, you could send some of that rain to California. We certainly need it.
Indeed, yes.
Hello, everyone joining in. Welcome. We're still a minute or two from Sensei logging on. And I'm going to take the liberty of acting as the fundraiser here and ask everybody, to the extent possible, that you think about making contributions to Nadeau Sensei for these virtual dojos. If you're a dues paying member of one of his dojos, it's sort of included, and we've not required it, and we don't want to require it, but it's actually the donations, especially in 2020 and 2021, really helped Nadeau Sensei and his wife make ends meet. And because student memberships and students in the actual dojos are, of course, way down. And so everybody has their own circumstances. If you can offer, help, then it's very appreciated. If your circumstances are such that you can't, don't worry about it. Please, you should continue with this practice. And I'm saying this so that Nadeau Sensei doesn't have to, because our sensei shouldn't have to, but somebody has to. So forgive me for being so American about it. Actually, not even American, New Yorker. So, and let's see, I don't know if he's about ready. Let me just check in. In 1 minute is the answer. So welcome, Autumn. Hello, Gina. Okay. Ken Cron's up at Lake Tahoe, so he's there cybernetically, but I don't know if we'll hear from him. Right. Diana in Florida, one day you're going to have to play flute for the group. Okay, Sensei's ready to go.
Not really, but here I am.
Good evening, Sensei.
Hey. Hi. It's warm down here in my neighborhood. Okay. I thought last week was really cool. You impressed me. We're on a roll. So I didn't want to change topics because that was like major. So I'd like to hang with that a bit longer. Bit of a longer journey, so we got a lot of things to do. But that first clarification on what was our word we were using, aspects, which aspect is which. As we move along, we will talk about the overlay factor of those two. But I didn't want to talk too much about the overlay factor because we have a smearing problem where you can't tell yourself from your character, and you sort of screw both of them up a certain way. So anyway, let's continue with from last week. What'd you get out of that? What'd you get out of that? You had all week to play with it. It was big time stuff. What do we got? That was a question, by the way. What you got with that?
Well, Sensei, this is Justin. This week I've been much more intentional in my practice of exploring a connection with core self, a little bit of radiant self, and touching more on that on a regular basis rather than what I usually do, which is settle, open, ground, so I can, as a being, get a clearer sense of the situation and the energies. This week, although there were many changing situations, as there always are, despite the fact that a lot of hats were being changed, in the midst of all of that, a sense of core or centered self, a stillness was there as the situations were moving around me. Then that was felt like this different point of view that I was engaging with the world from. It was a subtle difference. I wasn't as, caught up by the busyness of changing situations. I was a little more core centered, with a presence, a beingness there. Slight, but core radiant, little different than it was in the past weeks for me.
Okay, so what I heard him say was, yes, there's still a character in his world and things are going on, but he highlighted or gave more time this last week to the self. There's a self here. And he was playing with that a bit more than he would, let's say, normally do. So yeah. Should be so. Times to emphasize a character run and times to emphasize the self run, could we call it? So yeah. Somebody, how'd you do? What'd you play with? What got
I'd say Chris from New Zealand.
Chris?
I truly love the experience that we did last week about not sort of creating the character, letting that process sort of still like go into the space. So I've been playing a lot with that transition or experiencing the not the character, but that same energy and resources shifting towards the self space and that merging of togetherness with self and trying to experience that space, which for me felt, well, I haven't been that well this week. So for me, it was a healing in myself, a resource and a glowing energy when I needed to have a bit more energy, but it just didn't sort of form up. It was just a merging of what would be character and that self space, which I truly, really enjoy. So that was my playing.
Whenever you're going to play with both of them together, you ought to be clear you're doing that because of the smudging problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, whatever. Self already exists, but in this creation trap that we spiraled into, okay, that wasn't totally meant to happen, but there it is. We did it, okay. So one form I use in my own sense is a what the hell do you call that? Brad, give me a word here. Funnel?
Funnel.
Okay.
Funnel.
And in creation, it goes into heavier and heavier and heavier. Okay. So I kind of like that one sometimes to just have a sense of things, although it's kind of linear. But anyway, bear with me. And I get too tight. Okay. And I've been there before, bit of crazy. Do something to start to work up the line where there's more room. Okay. Easy. And there's certain tricks of settling, opening, whatever you're using to move dimensionally through. So I sometimes like that diagram. It's a simple one. It's very tight. And there's much more opening and much more opening and much more opening. Okay. The character's caught up in that. The world he's in gets caught up in that. Zoom. This self gets caught up in that, becomes an I. Okay. So that sense of it, one I've always kind of liked, although it's a bit too linear. The same story is this overlay. I'm in a certain level. we could call it a 1 by 1, or there is a 1 by 1 potential and a half potential. But easy. Do a little practice game of shifting to a 2 by 2. Eventually, continuing that game, I shift to a 3 by 3. So the here and now of it. So I like this sense of things, this zoom, but I don't know if I care for the linear sense. It's like, well, I'm a human being here and God is way back there someplace kind of thing. The overlay is a little bit better. So whatever, I'm just bullshitting here to kill time, people. That's all I'm doing. So again, the major last week, and I want to continue with the sense of it. There's self and there's character. 2 aspects where I'm calling it 2 aspects. They're both important. They're both in relationship, but careful to first with Shmiram. Let's get a little clearer on this one and then that one. And then we'll see how they overlay and how they, I don't know, words relate to each other. Okay. Position, very important. And again, when we talk about when they come together but work together, the positioning of the self, here's that little circular line there. The self in relation to his person, his character, okay, is very important because, again, I think I mentioned it before, we're seeing selves all over the place, okay? I roam around in the domain of selves, and a lot of them don't know they're supposed to be proper with their character. So we have hoverers, a lot of hoverers. A couple of you mentioned you were stand by the siders. Somebody mentioned they were back there a bit. So selves are potentially all over the place. So I'm asking selves to come in relation to their character and position there better. So that eventually where I'm heading with that is the glow of self, position better, will radiate out through the multi-levels of the character, the energy body character, for example, and the physical body character, and into the situations he's in or world he's in. Okay, so I think that positioning is very important. Okay. A sense of being spiritual, I got to go up there and float around. No, we're not going there. Here, inner, finer, in relation to the character, in alignment with the character, positioned better with the character. And again, I think I mentioned that's the work me and Susan are majoring in. She has ill people, variety of things. They send her some weird cases, not just physical therapy, some weird cases. And so one thing we do is make contact with their self and see from the self's viewpoint what the problem is. And in a lot of cases, the selves aren't quite in alignment. They're hovering or whatever. And so we're practicing dialoguing with them and asking them to position and see what their fears are for not positioning, what their misunderstandings are, stuff like that. So we'll eventually get into that more and more, starting to get a little more advanced, but I'd like you to have the sense of self is here. Self glows. We like that word this week, I think. It glows. You want to say radiate? Screw you, say radiate. I don't care that much. I happen to like the word glows, okay? You want to say self emanates? Hey, I'm fine. Find your own word. I like glow, okay? And inner finer is a finer level of glow of self. Okay, so just because you are aware there's a self, hey, that's cool. That's a good move. To have any sense of a glow from self, which a lot of you brought up last week, I thought, whoa, they're getting it. I was very pleased, even a little surprised. Okay. And there's more. There's a deeper glow, a stronger glow, a fuller glow from the self. Okay. So we want to continue with that for a bit. You talk. I'm getting tired here. Heat exhaustion. Somebody, what are you catching on to here?
Sensei, this is Bob. I think one thing that came through last week that made the class so successful was, and I think this was partly a transmission from your own experience, a deeper experience of self and its glow than we have had before. And among other things, that makes it a little easier to differentiate between self and character.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be after a bit pretty distinctive. It has its own, although again, as we get finer and finer, there might be some similarities, whatever. But if we early in the game get a sense of, oh, this is character and his desires and how he functions, and now I'm going to meditate, easy all of that. I'm going for self, letting self easy so self can be more present. Make itself known as you continue. Many of you are picking up the glow of self. Yes, cool. Let's continue. So, yeah. Bob, is that okay? What I said? Okay. I like that some of you are picking up qualities. Nancy, I was very impressed with. Nancy, what was the word you used? I don't remember. Nancy?
We're just waiting for her to open
Yeah,
up her phone.
Unmute, yes. It was a sense of generosity and benevolence that seemed
Benevolence,
pervasive.
that's the word. Yeah. I was talking to a couple of people and I don't know if we're using the right word. It was around in there, but benevolence, yes. And that's very nice because you're getting, going here, you're getting to the earlier, finer of your qualities. And it's very important. We have to go quite a distance. We will go quite a distance with that because there's a more origin of those qualities. There's more than one. Okay. Maybe a couple of tricks of the trade, which I'll bring up along the way. But for example, because the self glows or emanates, it has a, what can we say? It's a type of power which can push. Okay. So you pick up a quality, and knowing it has a type of power that can push a bit, don't run out crazy with your benevolence. Okay. Maybe don't sell your house and give all the money to the street people. Being benevolent, maybe you've gone too far, and because there's more than one, enjoy the hell out of the soaking in benevolence, but also be open for, and what else? Try to get a better balance there. Seems to me one quality, especially when there's a push, starts to spin. Okay. All right. And I've tried to explain that in the past in Nado language. You get strong feeling, oh, love. And you score the delivery boy and whoever comes by, the mailman, your sense of love is starting to get off. You got spiraled out a bit. Okay. So that's Nado's way of presenting things. Bear with me. If you don't like it, move on. Screw you. Okay, you all right here so far? So I think early in the game, try to get a balance. For example, enjoy the hell out of benevolence and the flavor, the soaking in benevolence. Okay, that's cool. That's really cool. And you might be open soon for its first partner. See what else is there that is a partner to benevolence. And we're going to continue that pattern as we go finer and finer and finer. Okay, I like the number 4s as a reference. You okay with me, Nancy, so far? She leave?
She's here, Sensei.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Nancy. I like the word and I like your sense of it. Who else? Somebody else cut me up. I forget who what. Talked to somebody on the phone and they were talking about moving along with self finer and finer, and they're coming up with a couple of few qualities. Yes, that's what happened. So don't get confused. Also will help you because you'll be enjoying benevolence or whatever, and suddenly there'll be another one. And you go, oh, did I make a mistake? Did I make up that one? And this one's the true one, or is this the false one? And because it's not the first one. And all right, little trick of the trade. There's more than one. Okay. And when this next one shows, yeah, and allow it or facilitate allowing it, whatever the right words are. And we're not finished yet. Okay, but cool. Get 2, it's pretty cool. I'm tired of talking. Somebody, what are you getting out of this?
Hi, Sensei, it's Dusty. I have a question, if that's okay.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, I like, first of all, I like that it feels like constant or some focus on the self, take some pressure off of the character, which I like the character's a little more free to do its thing. But then when you talk about a trait of the self and qualities of the self, who's saying those?
Self, it's in self's territory.
It's a self-asking self.
Don't know how to say it. Self's territory.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. At the moment, I'm not going to answer your question right, but who said that? I got to figure out who said that. So I, Bobby, can control this game. Who said that? I got to know. Don't got to know. Easy. You have a sense of something, so be it. There it is. Easy. Easy. Who's talking? I don't know, but it's not my normal bullshit. Easy. Okay. So I sort of won't answer that right now. But I think I understand the quandary. I've heard it before. But I don't think I want to get into it because I probably can't say it clear or properly. Anyway, be careful, Dusty, of smudging though. Okay, just be careful. Easy. No, it depends what lineage you're on. Easy, if you're easy for the eye. Yes, now you can major in easy the eye and not have a character be there, pass on the character. Okay, you want to continue, you're meditating, you're not going to jump up and play tennis.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you meditate, just a word I use for the I major, self major part, you continue with that for as long as you're meditating, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever. So you don't have to check out the physical. Not wrong to at a certain place along the way to check, but don't you schmear. You're not so fast doing that. You'll schmear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a while. Yeah. When you're on self, be on self. When you're on character, be on character. And know what lineage character. Are you a tennis player? Are you a school teacher? Are you the lover of the week? What lineage is the character on? Okay, so be clear. Yeah.
I like it. Thank you.
Clarity is important. I don't know what, be all over the place. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Go, somebody. This layout. Oh, who that?
That's
San
me,
Jose, isn't it?
Danny.
Oh, Danny. Yes, Danny. Go.
Yeah. It looks hot there. First of all.
What?
Yeah, first of all, I note that when we do this work with you, this is how it is for me, it's really quite powerful. It feels stronger and more direct than, say, when I sit on my own. So it's over, yeah, whatever you, I first thought of Zooming a dojo. It's really,
So I'm sorry to interrupt, Danny.
I'm continually amazed at the transferring that goes on.
So Danny, I'm sorry to interrupt.
I'm breaking up, am I?
Yes, you're breaking up. Can you turn off your camera, please, and just use audio?
Sure.
And now please start again. Sorry.
Thanks. Yeah, I was saying how it's like when you're leading us through these levels, how powerful it is when there's a collective. That's how it is for me.
Yeah.
And
Just a quick aside, people, that's an old pattern. I'll bring that up after a minute. Sorry, Danny, go.
Yeah. And yeah, I noted that I saw all the lots of myselves queuing up. It was like they all wanted to have a chat with me. And so I like that idea of the funnel. It seemed appropriate that they all wanted to come along for the ride somehow.
Okay, Danny.
And it's been yeah.
Can't hear me, can you? Danny,
Yeah.
how can I position yourself within Danny, the person, character, okay, who could use some health flow from the self? If you have many selves, how am I going to position you? I don't understand many selves here.
It's like I notice, for instance, I might be in the healing self, and then I note that then there's another self that wants to have a conversation, and then there's more behind that. I just see all these selves wanting a piece of the action, if you like.
Yeah. Okay, do whatever you want. Myself, I wouldn't separate them out into pieces. The glow of self has a lot of healing potential in it. Within the glowing self, there are qualities, more than one. Within the glowing self is a certain amount of intelligence about you, the character, or it itself. Okay, like it may say, "Hey, I've been around a long time. Bodies come and go, but I'm an on-goer. I'm still here." Okay. Anyway, so if you want to continue with different selves, feel free. I don't care for it, but do whatever you want to do. Gotta do. Okay.
No. It's not really what I really want to do. It was just something that I noted was going on, and when you mentioned the funnel, it made a lot of sense to me. And furthermore, for my week, and I had quite a few health challenges this week, and I found that I was incredibly delicate with myself in my demands on on how I should get better, and a really a lovely connection with center and circle. Yeah, so I've had a pretty good week overall with my inner world, and it certainly shows up in my outer world for sure.
Yeah. And again, for people, don't worry about how much of it shows up for a while. When you're majoring in self, yes, we expect there to be some changes. And as it gets more advanced and more advanced and more advanced, some pretty fancy things. But don't worry about that now, because there'll be a tendency maybe of coming out and seeing if things are changing. If they don't change, oh, I must be screwing up because you got a flat tire or you got fired or whatever. So don't be too fast to get out into the spiral of life. Just keep, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, I don't know. Oh, the word trust comes up again. Trust that itself seems to be something. Trust that itself. Trust the more of it, the finer of it, the better glow of it. And whatever, the more of it, just trust that it will unfold itself more and more. So I just don't want you to see if it's working. Don't be a little kid. What's the joke? Pulling up the new carrot to see if it's growing, and he does it every day. The carrot ain't going to grow. So don't be a little kid, is all I'm saying to people. Okay, and this will be more important. I have my own, Katja. Why do I need another one?
You're getting low.
Oh, thank you. Anyway, okay, somebody. Thank you, Danny.
I have a question. This is Nancy.
Thank you.
Nancy, go for it.
What's the role of chance, in all of this? Like, no matter how much I prepare, or, everything's, I try to make it all right, but then there's always something that happens and I have to be ready for something brand new, unexpected all the time. And it seems like a feature of the universe, but I don't know if it's part of the self or the character or this role of evolution. Everything's kind of a roll of the dice all the time. And, Sensei talks about, being,
Are you saying life is screwed up? Yes, fine. Yes, it is. Now, what can we do about it?
Is that a character? Is that a creation? I don't know what to call that.
I don't know. Let's go over some basics. So there you are. Let's say to some degree centered. Okay. Just use that as a reference. We're talking character now. Okay. Person.
Yes.
Nancy. Okay.
Yes. Got it.
Now, something in your world begins to change. Okay. There's a knock on your door, and it's your cousins from out of state who unexpectedly are visiting you. Unexpectedly. It changed. Therefore, you, the centered one, has to change to be whatever you're going to be in dealing with your cousins. Okay?
Got it.
So as far as the character is concerned, that's going on quite frequently. You don't have to perfect it. Let me see what to say here. You do Aikido, Nancy.
Yeah, it's kind of like I expected, I just am not sure what to call this part of the world. It seems like it's good to expect that things will change and evolve and be different all the time. And that's part of the reason we train.
Yeah, but I want to be looking around for things changing. You're not here. Here with a sense of here, but a sense of open to changes without looking around for changes. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm just present. If there's suddenly an attacker comes at me, I hope because of the law, because I'm present, that circumstance is changing my center, and I go, hey, and I do the best I can.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
That's center to circle, circle to center.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, down the line, you might get, see, if I want to bring this up, pushed by the self. Excuse me. The self could be a nag. Okay, the self could be a nag. Possibly, I can't prove this, but possibly when I was working in a factory and starting to physically get weird. Now I'm kind of a jock. I'm not used to getting weird, heartbeat and dizzy. What the hell is that? Possibly we could say that was the self saying, hey, what are you doing in the factory?
Oh,
Get out of here.
okay.
You got to
Yeah.
move along. Okay. I like the factory a certain way because it was easy, repetitive. Paycheck wasn't bad for a young kid, but it wasn't my thing. Okay. So I was pressured. It could have been pressured from a Robert pressuring Bobby, or it could have been the self starting to nag. Is that
Yes.
okay? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, Sensei said no one knew, but he was under pressure. Well, I think he said all the time. His self, he was so potentially could go further and further that his self was kind of a nag. Great, Morihei, you can do better. Fantastic. You're not finished yet. So we'll catch the language of the self and we'll play with how to recognize a push from the self. It must have a little different tonality or sense to it than a character wanting to be a better character. We'll work that out and play with it one day. That'll be kind of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah. I hope that helped.
Yes, it helps.
And worst comes to worst, you sit down and watch a dumb movie on TV.
Square one.
Take up drinking, you know. Anyway. So again, there are two aspects, self and the character, and don't mind majoring in one. I liked what I did. I didn't do it purposefully, but in retrospect, it was like, wow, I did a good job with that. I'd have my on the mat training time. Okay, I trained hard, trained well. I'd go home in the afternoon, it's kind of free. I'd go home and in the afternoon, I would do finer energy character body practices, energy flowing practices, deeper centering practices, trying to get into other dimensions of the character. Okay, at nighttime, meditation time. Okay. Whenever it was 10:30, whatever, sit on the couch, meditation time, self time. So I was kind of distinct, but I kind of, in retrospect, liked the way I did that. I could advance in different parts kind of properly. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I said it great, but anyway, in retrospect, I like that I did it that way. The clarity thing kind of helped me. Oh, hello out there in the world. Position.
Sensei, you
It's Danny again,
Danny,
Sensei.
yeah.
It's Danny again.
you said you were going to come back to. You said you were going to come back to that. Something I mentioned about.
I'm sorry, Danny.
Danny, you're fading.
I'm sorry, Danny.
Collective.
Danny. Danny, you're fading on us. Okay, it's going into slow motion and your voice is fading.
And Sensei, I'll follow up with Danny via text, and please just.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just, yeah. Okay. Everybody. Easy. Okay. I kind of start with easy the I, because I'm often. But after a bit, it's just easy. Settle here. Easy. Easy. The sense of, as I settle, some vague sense of moving into a little bit bigger realm, feels a little airier, a little freer. Easy. Easy. And in doing that, it started to run my mind again because there's more energy, more juice in the neck. So I get close to the next and it may push me. Okay, prior for the course, no problem. Easy with a sense of a little more opening. Easy. We're just going for a little more room space. Okay. Haven't decided which aspect I'm going to work. We're going to go for self, but when I'm just settling down, I may not have decided yet, or I'm not sure which one wants a turn or needs a turn. Easy. Settling. Easy. The sense of this circle around me, my words, this circle airiness around me feels a little more distinct. So it feels like a noticeable something, not great words, people, but you got the sense of noticeable something. Is that all right? Easy. Sense of opening without going heavy into we're moving into the next dimension. Okay. We're either moving up the line a notch, or we're moving from one tighter circle to a more open circle. Here and now. Here and now. See. Okay. Now, self. Easy. Self. Some vague sense that there's a self here, or present, or will show itself. Whatever. Easy. Self. Inner self. Okay. Now, it's not an idea, so don't be up there running around. Here. Inner self. Easy self. Play with me. In the early beginnings, any sense of something being there, it doesn't have to be distinct or really be a strong glow. Let's start earlier. Any earlier sense of something that we call self as being here? In the early stages, you can't prove it. We're at that level. You can't prove it, but a sense of something. Anybody got anything to say here? What's your first sense of something that's there that you can't prove? You may even doubt yourself. Maybe I made that up. Easy.
Sensei,
Yes.
right in the beginning, just seems to be like a small hum, a light hum.
Okay. Maybe. Just people file away that also the vibrations of the character can move and hum. So maybe. I don't know. We'll continue. Okay. See, again, I think related to the distinction I wanted to make between the aliveness of the character and his system and the glow of self. So hums at first, to me, I place more in the energy movement that makes up the character in his world. Okay, but I'm not sure where you're at with it. So just something it'll clarify after a bit. And settling, easy, open. the early stages of self that you can't prove, you're not sure, but there's a little something. What? In your case, what?
It's like returning to, like you're returning, like the a familiarity. There's something there that sort of warms you, welcomes you. There's a draw.
Okay.
There's something.
Okay, friendly is probably a better word. Because familiar, I could have a memory of it. I did it yesterday and I remember how it was, and therefore I know and I remember. I know it's a dumb change of words, people, but this is me.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Comfortableness, there's something nice, comfortable. Maybe a sense of, oh, I'm approaching home. If Tom's on, Tom, that could be the approach to that level that you call home. Okay. Somebody?
Tom is not here this evening, Sensei.
Huh?
Tom is absent
That's
today.
fine. We don't need anything from Tom. It just. Anyone else on the early stages? Easy, where self is there, but almost imperceptible. You're not sure. You may be making it up. Self.
Sensei, Linda Eskin here.
Go, Linda.
This is definitely a not sure, but a sense of spaciousness or like containment. Hard to explain that, but like a sense of containing what I'm observing.
Anyway, it's not an accident that we drew it this way. It's sort of contained. It's a certain size and it's contained. Maybe so. Very easy.
It is the container. Yeah.
Okay. And maybe it's like, oh, here is the space, and in this space, self is here. We say at that size. But we'll just continue. It'll clarify. Eventually, it's going to hit you over the head, so to speak. But I just want you to sort of catch the potential early presence of it. That's all we're doing. Okay. So you get a little faster with this, better at it, can move along easier. Self could be potentially really a fast form, We did something similar many months back. I put you in a wind tunnel game. And I said, here's the beginnings of an energy pushing through this wind tunnel. But I want you to pick up the first soft pressure. To recognize when you're being pushed by energies, a lot of people don't notice. And then they get pushed some more and they don't notice, and they get pushed more and they're starting to get pissed off or off balance or whatever. And then shit, this has been going on for 15 minutes. Idiot, where were you? They weren't sensitive to the first bing, bing. Okay, so kind of like in relation to that, to pick up the sense of self or self's early beginnings. That might facilitate later where you go, oh, self is here. Boom, and you really open and go full bore with them. Thank you, Linda. And again, you're not sure, doesn't matter, you continue. Just continue, settle, easy, open, self. As there's more room, so to speak, more of self can show. Okay, that's the law, the pattern. Okay. Okay, let's move along. Okay, so early stages that are potentially not perceived at first. Easy, let's continue. Settling and opening. Easy, we're moving up the line here, or we're moving into the next better. Okay, easy. Self. For me, damn the words, I felt almost like a presence, kind of felt like that. Whoa, like, oh, something. No big deal. That's me at this moment. Easy. Settling, opening, self. Self. Again, a reminder, do it in relation to your body. I'm doing it in relation to my position here. Self. Okay, I want to float around, going around looking for self. That's an old style. We'll bring up that one day in the future, maybe. I'm following old sensei's pattern of here and now. Straight away shot. That's why I was impressed last week. I thought you were doing pretty well at this. I said, oh my God, they have a shot for the straightaway sensei type. Whoa, fancy. Who would have thought? But now, as self begins to, what's for lack of words, show itself more, be more present, where you sort of don't have a question anymore. I actually feel something, I don't know the words, a little thicker, a little fuller, and kind of sense, feel it. It's not a body thing. It's not a character thing. It's just, boom. Something's here. It's almost tangible. Lousy words. Somebody, we're at that stage. Easy, open, self. As we open, the more of self can show. Where are you now? Playing this game with me. Where are you now with self? Nothing? That's it? Fini?
Feel like
Sensei,
there's
that's
a-
not-
One at a time? Yes?
Yeah, I felt like almost like one of those mosquito zappers that goes bringing the mosquitoes in and zapping them, but instead like electrical pulses kind of shooting outward and some ventilation in their air.
Again, we're using energy words. Character words. I think I'm hearing that. Oh, energy, and it went up and it shot around. Center circle energies of the character. Self. 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 Self is not the character. Self is self. Self is the paper. The drawing of character is drawn on. The character is alive. I try to distinguish the words. I don't know if they're perfect, but it's alive. It hums. Self. Self. We don't use the word alive. You could, but I use the word, oh, it glows. Okay, just to help distinguish, so I don't smear the two and get confused. Okay, so maybe you were on it, but from my vantage point, I'd say self. Self. Okay. Somebody moving along with self, self's presence.
I have the sense of a field, a presence available, a field, like a body of its own, a field of that has a texture to it, and a more distinct clarity with a here and now, or present and available, more of a here-ness, now-ness that's is almost tangible. A field glow, if you will, but it has a texture to it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I asked Brad last week how he did with this one, and he said his self at first was showing like textures of paper. So the beginning of self being present, showing itself, felt like a inexpensive paper. As he continued with easy and open, the next finer of self felt like a finer grade paper. And then he had a third finer grade paper. I thought, oh, that was cool. That's cute. So it fits in, although you didn't use the word paper, your field in his paper. Oh, yeah, cool. Okay, yeah. And you inferred it was getting better somehow. I forget what word you used, but clear. Self is itself experiencing itself, aware of itself. Okay, so again, let's not float up because there'll be more awareness of it and we'll miss so much. In the long, long run, you'll screw up. Self experiences itself, is aware of itself. Okay, you want to, we lost that word experience early in the creation game. And it's been a major, too much of a major unawareness, which isn't helping. So the actual experience. So again, no sense I was trying to show that. He was saying, you know, like having this experience, you can see how it manifests, for example. It wasn't, I believe we would have ran his ass over. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. He would have been an old man on the mat. We would have ran his ass over. But this thing was active because it was experience. Okay. All right. So I'd like to spend a little time with, is there a fear by people of their own self? And I'd like to fine tune that and see what begins to show. Okay, so I'm not saying Danny's doing this, but there's a potential for, ooh, that's too much for me, or that scares me too much. I'm going to do this form here, which is safer. But it makes me sound like I'm bad-mouthing them. And I'm getting lost in whatever my gibberish is at the moment. Was there a second question there? Second part?
I don't know that there's a second question. I've asked him for follow-up, but he hasn't written back. I mean, I think he's talking about, I don't mean to put words in Danny's mouth. I think he's talking about sometimes you need the help of others. Your spouse,
Hey.
your doctor.
Hey, I got no problem here. Why are you telling me this? I got a doctor. I got a wife. Little joke I saw.
Sometimes
A little joke I saw where the wife said, if it wasn't for me, my husband would still be lost in IKEA. I fit that category, man. So yeah. Don't bother me with it. It's not my interest. It's not my thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to send out prayer cards to you and you send prayer cards back to me. It's not my thing. If it's your thing, go ye and do it.
I just want to be clear that I don't believe Danny is saying that that's his thing. I'm
not on Danny. People have to understand how I talk. I'm talking about a situation. I'm talking about mankind or people kind. I'm not talking to Danny. You got to understand how I talk. Okay. If you say something to me and I go, ah, doesn't mean my is that you. It's the energy I get in my expression of them. It doesn't mean I'm going to you. If I'm going to do that, you'll know it because I'll be all over you. Okay. Or in the old days, I would be. I'm getting nicer now. But anyway, did you laugh, Brad? No? Oh, I thought I heard a smirk back there. Anyway, let's move on. We got lost here. Self. Now, last week, people were talking about the glow of self. So let's see if we're close enough to that. Easy. Inner self. Easy. Self. Certain level. Don't know the right word. Level. where self gets to show itself more clearly, fully. And in some way, my words, it glows. In my words, there's a sense of a yellow radiation, but not different beams, just a yellow glow. Easy, easy, self-present. Possibly there, I might be hearing a hum, I'm not sure. Easy. And double check your position with it. Don't go up into the upper floating around here. Here and now, inner, finer. Self. So we're at following our map, 1, 2, at the third level, just made that up, of self. Hopefully for all of you, self's present was much clearer. I brought up the word glow. Anything in that area or whatever, more of self should be showing. You did very good last week. Let's hear about it now. Self. Somebody?
Sensei
Hi,
Bob
Sensei.
here.
I got Bob Noah first. I didn't catch you a second. Go, Bob.
That fuller glow of self is distinctly different than the energies that mix a character. It has a certain kind of steadiness to it, or sort of internally generated. That's not the right word, but it's distinctly different.
Not bad. Yeah, it has its own generative powers, could we say?
Yes, that's a better way to say it. Yes.
Yeah. And we'll get into that one day, because and hanging out with selves, I find a lot of them don't know how to generate to keep improving as self. So we'll go into that one day. So it's an ongoing trip, people. Self is not just a go, oh, I touch self, that's it, that's the end of the journey, I've arrived. It's ongoing and there's more to come. Okay. But to catch self and to be clear on, it's a distinct unit compared to the character in his realm, world, situation. Very good, very good. And to have the ability of continuing, of doing a major run, 10 minutes of just self, an hour of just self, whatever you want. Okay. Was that it, Bob?
Yes.
Yeah. And a self may say that about itself. You said something like constant, not the word you use maybe, but.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. When I heard my earlier stages, I heard something like that, where it inferred that the Bobby's characters come and go. I'm constant. Okay, so it's fully there. I'm just opening, don't know the word, opening to the more of it that's already there. Remember, I got spun into this lobster trap that we're in called normal creation, manifest world. Okay, I'm unwinding. Okay. And part of that unwinding is either the character getting better unwinding, and then the self that's there. As the character unwinds better, more room for the self to unwind so they can work in tandem. But again, let's not smear them right now. Okay. I'm on a self run right now. Okay, somebody? Somebody tried to come in when Noah came in? Somebody? What?
Yeah, it was Mark here again.
Mark.
It seems the energy seems cleaner. It seems cleaner. It's just a clean, a cleaner.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And the finer, and you continue, it may even show more cleaner. The words may change there. It's clearer than clean, or clearer than clear, or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's self.
This is Nancy.
Nancy again, yes.
Let's see, I'm getting a really deep, super deep silence that feels very rich, and it, as you say, it's kind of growing and getting richer and more, I don't know, just supportive, deep silence.
I like I'm just leery people will misunderstand how you use the word silence. But I like your word richness.
Yeah, it's a pretty three-dimensional experience. I mean, it's not just a auditory thing. It's a pervasive silence.
Yeah. Again, very important to experience these things. Remember, too many folks have an awareness major. That's fine, but that's only like half. Now it's the experience of that. So experience the whatever. So richness, let's stay with that for a moment. Richness. Would you put that in the same category as your benevolence as one thing, richness as another thing? Is that a major quality? Do you sense your flavor?
It's one I've had before when we were doing self-work. Yes.
Yeah.
Just a super deep, rich, supportive silence that kind of keeps growing and growing. You can almost touch it, and you can almost, see it.
Yeah. And again, remember the important trick very soon now is more experience of it, not just looking at it, not just hearing it, not just being aware of it, but again, for lack of words, it's feeling itself. And it can be that experiential. Very important. Yes. Very important.
This is an experience. I was having difficulty finding words.
Oh, yeah. Yes, definitely. Words are a bitch. We do the best we can. Reading up time, people, anything at this level of self, for many of us, the glowing level.
So a warmth.
Huh?
Well, for me, Chris New Zealand, sorry, like a warmth to something much larger. It's certainly the beginning. It's a warmth, but it is a source. There's an awareness of the source.
Yeah. In more advanced development, it may be like a sun, S-U-N, and continue. Yeah. Somebody was trying to jump in. Is that Florida? Lauren, somebody in line?
No, I think that was just Nancy and Chris that tried to get in on top of each other.
Sensei Bob again.
Yeah.
This level of self, when you talk about positioning, I believe that my capability as self to position is better here than it was at lesser levels.
Yes, and maybe also because that we've been settling and opening, so we're getting a little more of the underside of things that the hoverers, aware types don't have. As you settle and open, hopefully going through the deeper of things.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, could be following that track easy. Yeah. One warning for people, the sense of size could show an immense. But again, I suggest you can be aware of the immensity of it, fine. But if you get caught up in the immensity and you spread out, it sort of, since I said dissipates. Okay. And he said to me, it'll show bigger, but better you trade that word in, I'm paraphrasing now, to the word finer. Just here, finer. So here, a finer level of self here. So whatever your here wants to be. In the early stages, I like this size of here. A little more advanced, I'd like it to radiate out, I don't know, 10 feet around. But watch out for that seems to, and there'll be a tendency to float into awareness by doing that also, and you lose the experience all along the way that's critical. Don't know if I said that right, but anyway, just a heads up warning. You'll hear it again in the future, I'm sure. People, say something because we're approaching the end. Nobody with a self? Oh, you poor people who don't have a self. Gee, poor you.
My sense of self did change. At first, for me, it's a radiant center point almost. But then at the next level, it's a fuller core, more radiant, not just point, but a core with a fullness and a texture again to it that's not faint, but it's full bodied in a way that's distinctly different than it was at its earlier.
And who knows, in the final stages, the heavenly stage, whatever, not heavenly, the heavenly stages, the whole thing may be a core. So that's why earlier core work was potentially helpful if you didn't get stopped along the way. The core continues, and finer core continues, and more original core continues. It might show that way or happen that way. We'll see. Don't want to get too far ahead. Okay. Somebody, before we finish up, come on.
And say, I really, this is Sean here. I really liked that sense of richness. I connected with that. And there's a sense of like gold. There's genuine and there's impure, but that sense of genuineness, it's the real authentic piece. It's
if it says of itself, I am genuine. If it's speaking of itself and you sense that, experience that, then so yes.
Yes.
Period.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. Yep.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. It could be saying to people who are involved in a dumb sort of way, hey, that's interesting stuff, but some of it's bullshit. I'm true. I'm constant. Okay, kind of thing. Maybe just pointing out who's who here in this creation game. Yeah.
I think that's really that's a lot of the home practice. That's the playing around that you talk about a lot. I think it's a sense of knowing where you're at, knowing where you stand, how many clicks away.
Well, I'm a mapper. It's nice to have a map. Okay.
Yes.
So you kind of know. I mean, if you're going to San Francisco, you don't want to get off the train in San Mateo. Bear with me here. You want to sort of know where you are. If you want to take a break, but you like taking a break in San Francisco, fine. But you know where you are. Okay. So I'm a mapper.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I like that. That's good. Thank you very much, Sensei.
certainly have to remind myself as I'm aware, and then I can map it out, that I double check my experience of what I'm aware of and my experience of what I'm mapping out. Okay. So I don't fall into that trap of I'm a mapper, but I've never been there, but I can draw nice maps about it. I can tell you about it, but I've never experienced it kind of thing, you know. Anyway, blah, blah.